Mostly what I do on this channel is gaming stuff, but outside of gaming, I do different things, of course, and one of the things that I do is fantasy football, and I've been pretty big in fantasy, winning money, you know, DFS types of leagues, FanDuel, DraftKings, all that type of stuff. I'm here today talking about a matchup that I think is worth putting a little bit of money on. And the matchup that I'm talking about is the San Francisco 49ers playing against the New York Football Giants, the G-Men, Big Blue. So, a couple important things to note here this week. We have a couple of injuries, so we'll go over the injuries first, all right? So the way it's looking is San Francisco's defense has been attacked by the injury bug, like a lot of teams this year. We're seeing Solomon Thomas and Nick Bosa both out with ACLs, so they won't be in. Needless to say, the defense, is still it's a solid unit. I think people are going to overreact to this. Yeah, the pass rush, took a huge hit. The biggest hit they could probably take with two of their star pass rushers heading to IR. It's not looking too hot, but their back end is still fine. Their linebacking core is still fine. So, injuries to take note of. Nick Bosa, out for the year. Same thing with Solomon Thomas. They're both out for the year. On offense, we're looking at Tevin Coleman, who is gone. We're also looking at Raheem Mostert, who also went down with an ACL after that big run he had in week 2. Also, we're looking at Jimmy Garoppolo. It's 5 huge names for San Francisco that are out for the time being. Jimmy G probably going to be a couple of weeks as opposed to the season, like Bosa, Thomas, and Raheem Mostert. So this is good to bet on. So this game is a great game to bet on because you have so many of these studs that cost so much money. They're out. These guys are out right now. And that leaves way for the player who I would choose to be a flex, or I would even put him at MVP this week. I think he is a cheap buy, and I think he is a must buy. So I'm going to pull up my FanDuel right now, and I'm going to go check and see, is there a game available to bet on here? Is this to be bet on? Hold on, guys. Give me one singular moment. We're going to go look at when these guys play, because it could be the Monday night game. So this is the Sunday morning game. There are no bets for this one. I don't know how it is for DraftKings. Maybe DraftKings has a bet here, but regardless, we're going to continue here. We're going to continue talking about this game here. They don't have the 5-man teams here. They have the classic plays. They have the super flex rosters. But we're going to be talking about, like I said, Niners and the Giants. So for DraftKings, if you can find a way to bet on that game, the way to bet would be go with Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon he's the guy to go to. If you're focusing on the offense here for the 49ers, you have Jimmy G that's out, and you also have those 2 running backs that are out. Another key thing to note with Jerick McKinnon was last week there were talks that Jerick McKinnon was going to slide in as the number 1 running back as it was. He should have taken over that role in week 2, but he did not. So week 3, Jerick McKinnon was going to see a higher snap percentage. He was going to be in on more plays anyway. Now that both of those running backs are gone, it almost solidifies their game plan. Now the thing with Jerick McKinnon is that he's going to be the bell cow back, but if they decide to use him, or if they decide to play the run game a little bit like Miami does, you'd be seeing a little bit more of Jeff Wilson Jr. or Jeff Wilson Sr., whatever whatever that is. Jeff Wilson, regardless. If the Niners start playing like Miami, if they're going to have the same mentality as Miami, expect to see a lot of rush attempts in the red zone and in the late games, going to Jeff Wilson as opposed to Jerick McKinnon, who we'd probably end up seeing on first, second, and third down. It's going to be tough for them. They're probably going to have to bring in another running back or bring someone up from the practice squad. But point is, Jerick McKinnon is the running back to look forward to. He's the one to look at. If you were going to place a bet or you were going to put an MVP or a 1.5 time point multiplier on somebody this week, it would be Jerick McKinnon. Someone else to really check out. The Giants defense. With their starting quarterback gone and their 2 starting running backs gone, I don't know if... Well, actually, let's see. If their running back had been brought back up. Not the running back, the wide receiver. And that is... What the fuck was that kid's name? 49ers wide receiver here. Everybody loved him. 49ers wide receiver. Fucking has a crazy weird name. Deebo Samuel. Deebo. So, is Deebo still hurt? Let's check and see if Deebo Samuel is still hurt. So he's returning in week 4. So with Deebo Samuel out, Jimmy Garoppolo out, Tevin Coleman, and Raheem Mostert out, you have a backup quarterback. You have the second wide receiver starting at 1, 3 at 2, 4 at 3, and you have Jerick McKinnon now as your running back. The offense just does not look that hot right now, especially because the starting quarterback is out. So that's why I say start Jerick McKinnon. If you look at the Giants, that defense could play very, very well against the 49ers' crippled offense right now. So take a peek at the 49ers. Take a peek at the New York Giants defense this week. I think it's a fantastic, fantastic bet to go put some money on that defense. It's not going to look glaringly obvious, but the New York Giants offense has had 3 weeks now. It will be 3 weeks that they've been able to practice and play live games. San Francisco hasn't had these first team reps with any of the guys that they're going to have to start right now. So they're at a loss. More mistakes will be made. More miscommunications will be made. And the Giants defense could capitalize on those mistakes. It's a young, fast defense. Not the greatest defense, but of course, with all these injuries that we're seeing, the Giants defense has a real capacity to cause some big, big, big time damage. So look at that defense if you're starting, like that 9-player lineup with the defense in it without the kicker. If you're starting something like that, go look at the Giants defense. Another player I think it's important to look at. Sterling Shepard is out. He's on IR right now. I don't know what he had, but Sterling Shepard is out. That just gives Darius Slayton more. It gives Darius Slayton more of an option. I love Darius Slayton this year. I think he's a must-grab in every money league. If you're betting at any type of Giants game, Darius Slayton is a guy you have to put money on. He is that guy. And of course, you want to put money on Daniel Jones. So far, for our lineup, we have Jerick McKinnon as MVP. We have Daniel Jones. We also have Darius Slayton. Another guy I think it's important to put in your lineups for this week. I can't believe I'm saying this because he screwed my fantasy league last year, but I think Evan Engram is another guy you have to start. This defense up front is crippled. Their back end is fine. If you just pass it nice and quick, Evan Engram, he's a wide receiver in a tight end's position. He's going to do fantastic. Another player to really, really take your to bring your attention to would be Brandon Ayuk. You also have, I believe they picked up Tavon Austin, and they also picked up Kevin White. But if I'm looking at that receiving core, I'm looking at Brandon Ayuk, and I'm telling myself that this is the guy who's going to be seeing the targets. Brandon Ayuk. Now, if we go and check, right? Let's go and check to see, right, what Brandon Ayuk's snap count is looking like. So Brandon Ayuk, let's go check out his. I'm just gonna get this thing to load here. Let's go and check to see what Brandon Ayuk has been doing so far. Snap count. So, yet Ayuk was cleared to make his NFL debut in Week 2 against the New York Jets. He was in the starting lineup and played 44 offensive snaps, and the 49ers injury marred 31-13 victory over the Jets. Kendrick Bourne, who played 45 snaps, was the only 49ers wide receiver who saw more playing time than Brandon Ayuk. So Kendrick Bourne and Brandon Ayuk, you're going to probably assume, I think it's safe to assume that Brandon Ayuk is going to see a higher percentage of plays. If he was in on 44 offensive plays for the 49ers, you're probably going to end up, and this was his first week, you'll probably end up seeing a bigger snap count, a higher snap count, and a lower snap count for some of these other guys. The people I'm talking about will probably end up being Brandon Ayuk. Kendrick Bourne will probably see a lower snap count. A little bit of information on Ayuk. He was targeted 3 times, caught 2 passes for 21 yards. Now, obviously, the capacity for him to play better is there. You probably say that the floor for Brandon Ayuk is probably this right here. This is probably the lowest we'll see him go, and I don't think this is the last time we'll see him going this low. But this is his floor. If you're okay with 2.1 points in your money leagues with Brandon Ayuk, that's fine. Pick him up. But his ceiling is a lot higher with Debo out. And especially, what's great is that I don't assume that Brandon Ayuk was practicing with the first team. He's probably practicing with the second string quarterback. Right then and there, I think it's safe to say that Brandon Ayuk's snap count will end up going up. And even Coach Kyle Shanahan said this himself, I quote, he got kind of thrown into the fire this week in practice, and I thought he only did better in the game. So Shanahan saying that he did better. Another quote from him, anytime you're a rookie and you get to go into your first game, there's always a lot of pressure on you, especially with the fact he hadn't been out at practice that much and missing those 3 weeks. So he missed a lot of time. Shanahan knows this, acknowledged this, and still started him and had him in for 44 snaps. Another guy to take notice of, veteran Mohamed Sanu. These backup quarterbacks that come in here, here's the thing. These young guys, you target your veteran wide receivers. Head coaches tell these guys all the time. Target your tight end. Target your veteran receivers. You saw it yesterday with Gardner Minshew. You have one of your top guys out, DJ Chark. You have Keelan Cole's been there for 2 years. You have D.D. Westbrook, who might have been there for 3 years. And then you have Laviska Shenault, who's a rookie this year. Then you have Chris Conley, who's been there for a pretty long time. Chris Conley was targeted, I think, 5-6 times last night. He had a couple yards. He had a deep ball thrown to him by Minshew, way overthrown. Way overthrown to Chris Conley over there in the end zone. He could have had a touchdown right there. I had him in a lineup last night. Just missed him on that. I had a feeling Chris Conley was going to go off. Chris Conley should have gone off. I look at Chris Conley the same way I look at Mohamed Sanu. We've seen Mohamed Sanu play. Mohamed Sanu can make plays. With the Patriots, he didn't go necessarily off, but I think Mohamed Sanu, especially now with not D.D. Westbrook, especially with Deebo Samuel out, he could be seeing a bit more snaps, even with the backup quarterback in. So I think it's also safe to say Mohamed Sanu. But if I'm picking any of these wide receivers, I love the upside for Brandon Ayuk. I would put Mohamed Sanu second, even though we saw 13 snaps. He didn't see any passes thrown his way, but he's newly acquired. I would still put Mohamed Sanu in there. He's in 13 snaps. He's the veteran guy. I wouldn't start him this week, but if you're running out of money and you need those 4 guys in there and you can afford Mohamed Sanu and there's a couple other guys, Mohamed Sanu is the guy to go for. Dante Pettis, I wouldn't go for Dante Pettis. I don't think he's anything spectacular here for this offense. He didn't do anything last year. He had a lot of talk around him last year, especially around training camp. But didn't see too much action in his first year. I don't see him doing anything in his year 2. So, in my opinion, he saw his playing time drop in the last couple weeks. He was a week 1 starter, and then his playing time dropped just to 10 snaps. So, he's not seeing any time. He didn't see any passes thrown his way. Mohamed Sanu is trending upwards with 13 snaps. Receiver Dante Pettis is trending downwards with 10 snaps. So, you want to look at the way that they're trending. Sanu is going up, while Dante Pettis is going down. Brandon Ayuk is also going up. And then you have the guy Kendrick Bourne, who to me is, that's the guy who's to me is unspectacular. He's the guy who starts, but he's very unspectacular. I believe his price tag is a bit higher than what Brandon Ayuk's would be. So, if I'm just wrapping this up quick, because we're going to do a second video where I have a lot more information. But the point of this video was to look at the lineup, look at the matchup, and to make a quick snap decision right now as to who the lineup would be. And the lineup right now is Jerick McKinnon at MVP, Daniel Jones, we're putting in Darius Slayton, we're putting in Brandon Ayuk, and we're also putting in Evan Ingram. So that right now, a couple of days before the matchup, that is the matchup, that is the lineup that we're going to be putting in for the Giants 49ers game. So guys, this was a little all over the place. This was a snap decision to make this video. I had gotten upstairs into my room and I started looking at some things, looking at some matchups, and I really liked that matchup for San Francisco and New York. The reason being is all of these players that are hurt are so expensive. Jimmy G, super expensive. He's gone. Raheem Mostert, super expensive. He's gone. And I believe Tevin Coleman was somewhere between 8,000 and 9,000. He's gone too. So now you have a bunch of cheap players that you could stick in your lineups with very high upside. My snap decision, my final decision here. Once again, guys, MVP, Jerick McKinnon. Number 2, Darius Slayton. Number 3, Daniel Jones. Number 4, what did I say? Brandon Ayuk. And number 5, Evan Ingram. Those are my guys to target in your Week 3 matchup. For your DraftKings, for your FanDuel, or whatever it may be. The 5-man lineup. That's the lineup for 5-man. Guys, I'm going to be doing a couple more of these things. They'll get more refined. You know, the guy I do this with isn't here right now, so had nothing prepared. Expecting a couple days. Probably on Sunday morning, I'm going to upload very early, about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I'm going to check the injury report. And in the description, keep checking the description. Go back to the video. Go right back to the video. Watch it again. Look at the description. I'll have injury updates to the hour in that description to just finalize that bet. So, expect the video to come on Sunday morning or late Saturday night. And expect to get updates in the description of that video up to the hour. So we're not starting guys like, God bless his father, but we're not starting guys like James White. Whoever started James White in that Patriots-Seahawks matchup, go Hawks. They got fucked because he was gone. Obviously not to his fault, but if you're talking about winning money, you know what I mean? And I guess as just a little, I wanted to do a little, I guess a little bonus, I suppose, at the end of the video. If you're also doing the what the fuck is it, man? Where you get to pick the 9 guys. If you're picking the 9 players in the defense, I have a great lineup here for you guys. I have a great lineup that I think is going to absolutely go off. Did a lot of research this week on these players, and I think that this is going to be the matchup that really takes the cake this week. Okay. And the matchup we're looking at is this one here. So this week, starting quarterbacks, I love Josh Allen. Look, you can go and take Stephon Diggs as a wide receiver, but he has other guys to throw to. Josh Allen is taking over this offense. He's passing amazingly. He's running amazingly. If you look at his last 2 games, he's got 18 points and 34 points in his last 2 games. This guy's throwing touchdowns every single week. He's throwing for 300-plus yards, 400 yards his second week against Miami. Of course, it's Miami, but he is going absolutely off right now. Josh Allen is trending so far upwards. He has a very expensive price tag, but he's not the most expensive quarterback right now. So Josh Allen, if you're going to target a guy who's expensive, go with Josh Allen. Another guy who I think is going to absolutely go off this week, I'm a huge Seattle Seahawks fan, but I have a feeling that Ezekiel Elliott is going to have a tremendous game against the Seahawks. We all know this. Seahawks fans, if you're here, Seattle has not the worst D-line, but they don't have a very good D-line right now. Ezekiel Elliott's going to run right through that D-line. Of course, you're going to have to watch out for the matchup between him and Bobby Wagner, but I think Ezekiel Elliott breaks off a couple of huge runs if you just stay away and avoid Bobby Wagner. Another running back I really like this week is Miles Sanders. I mean, he had a great game last week. He had a very good game last week, especially for a guy coming off of an injury. You know what I mean? He had 95 rushing yards, 1 touchdown on 20 rushes. He also was targeted 1 time in the passing game. Oh, he was targeted 7 times in the passing game. My fault. And he also had 3 receptions for 36 yards. That comes out to 18.6 points, guys. He's a $7,400 running back. He's a little more pricey, but he should be ranked a lot higher. Here are some wide receivers. We're going off here, and we're going to look at some wide receivers, and I put some guys in that don't cost a ton of money. No one over $7,000. The 3 wide receivers I love this week. I'm going to give you my favorite one at the end. The guy I have faith in this week is my boy, Tyler Lockett. I think he's going to play tremendous against it. He's going 13 points and 16 points, and he's got 13 points without a touchdown. He's getting targeted 8 times a game. That's Russell Wilson's guy. Of course, DK Metcalf is the big target, but Tyler Lockett's the guy. He's the guy with the perfect rapport with him. He's the guy who's got the better passer rating. So, here's a stat. The passer rating that is the best in the league last year was Rob Gronk. Well, not last year. 2 years ago was Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady. Number 2 was Russell Wilson to Tyler Lockett. They have a great connection. I think Tyler Lockett's a definite put in, or a definite add this week. My second favorite receiver this year, or this week. Well, actually, Tyler Lockett costs $6,800 in DFS leagues right now. If you're talking FanDuel, I know it's precisely $6,800. The next wide receiver I really, really like is a $6,700 receiver. That man is Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin had an abysmal first game. He was targeted 7 times, caught 5 balls for 61 yards, didn't score a touchdown, scored 8.6 points. Last week, 10 targets, 7 receptions, 125 yards, 1 touchdown. 22 points, and that's against Arizona. Guys, they got a great matchup against Cleveland. Cleveland's setting up a lot of points. Terry McLaurin looks phenomenal this week. And finally, guys, my favorite wide receiver of this week costs nothing. $5,600 on FanDuel right now, averaging 14 points per game, 15.9 and 13.6, averaging 11.5, 10.5 targets a game. We're talking Russell Gage, Atlanta Falcons. This guy is so dirt cheap right now. $5,600 on FanDuel. Week 2, 9 targets, 6 catches, 46 yards, touchdown, 13.6 points. Guys, Julio Jones is fighting a little bit of an injury right now. Russell Gage is going to get moved up to Calvin Ridley's spot. Ridley's going to have a great game, but Ridley costs a lot of money right now. If he has a bad game, you're wasting $9,000. Russell Gage has great upside, a low price. Russell Gage is the guy you want to buy on right now. Tight ends this week. I like 3. Dan Arnold. Dan Arnold, the tight end right now. I don't even know what this guy's going for. I don't even know what on earth he's going for right now. Is there a way for me to check? Let's check this out, guys. Let's scroll down. He is dirt cheap. Dan Arnold. This guy caught 2 of 4 targets for 26 yards in Sunday's 30-15 win over the football team. Okay. This is the Arizona tight end. Guys, they spread the ball out a lot, and their number 1 tight end is hurt right now. Dan Arnold is the guy to look at right now. He's $4,300 right now. His points per game are very low at 3.3, but with the number 1 tight end hurting right now, Dan Arnold is trending upwards. He should not be $4,300. I'd put him more around the $6,000 to $5,500 range. I'd put him somewhere with Gronkowski, Greg Olsen, Austin Hooper, Jordan Reed, TJ Hawkinson. Another guy I really like this week that I'm not starting, a guy I've drafted in pretty much all of my fantasy leagues, is Jonnu Smith. A.J. Brown is out and hurt. Guys, we know he went off last game, so we're not going to look at that game. That's his ceiling. The floor, an average game, 7 targets, 4 receptions, a touchdown, 36 yards. That's 11.6 points. Jonnu Smith, he is the guy in year 3. To me, that's going to be the breakout tight end. He will finish as a top 10 tight end this season. He is a start this week if you're going to look to start a tight end. And he is 5,600 points. This one over here, the last tight end and the guy I'm putting in my money ball leagues, any type of leagues involving money, I'm putting in Noah Fant. I think Noah Fant looks awesome right now. He's got a great matchup out here against Tampa Bay. I think Noah Fant looks tremendous. The guy's got an average of 15 points. I want to say he's averaging 16 points per game, 16 in week 1, 15 in week 2. He has a touchdown in both of those games. Look for him to catch another touchdown against Tampa Bay this week too. Brady's not playing well. The Tampa Bay offense is getting off the field very quick. Gives a lot of opportunities here for the Denver Broncos to play well. Plus, Drew Lock is hurt. In my opinion, young quarterbacks, I said it earlier in this video, you target your tight end and you target your veteran wide receivers. Noah Fant is $5,800 right now. That is the guy you want to target. He is my tight end of the week, Noah Fant. And last but not least, guys, starting in at flex, there's a guy I have a lot of faith in that I just can't bring myself to add to my lineup because I just don't know enough about him. I'll probably set up a second lineup with him in it. The guy I'm starting is Tyler Boyd. I really like Tyler Boyd here. AJ Green is not playing very well, and Tyler Boyd's got a great matchup against Philadelphia. Right now, their cornerbacks absolutely stink. Sorry to my buddy who loves the Eagles. Their cornerbacks suck right now. You know, Avonte Maddox is fine. They let go of Sidney Jones. I just don't think that this secondary is that great, and I think Tyler Boyd can take advantage of that. Don't look to AJ Green. He costs too much money right now. He's not playing very well. AJ Green is a injury waiting to happen. You don't want to have to bang your hands against the table when in quarter number 3 he goes down with an injury, and then you're fucked. Go with Tyler Boyd. He's a better receiver right now. He's a safer receiver right now. The other wide receiver I really like that I can't bring myself to put in lineups is T. Higgins. Guys, you're seeing a way bigger snap count right now. T. Higgins is looking really, 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 really good for his money. You know what I mean? He's looking fantastic for the money right now. I don't even know what he costs. If you want to give me 30 seconds, guys, I'm going to scroll down. And I'm going to try and figure out where this guy is. Oh, my Lord. Wow, he's so low. Nope. 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 He costs less than John Ross. Dontrell Inman. That's another guy to look at, guys. Dontrell Inman. Another one to look at. But I want to get this last bit of information before I turn the video off. Okay, T. Higgins. T. Higgins played this last game. He saw 6 targets, 3 catches, 35 yards. That's 5 points. Guys, T. Higgins is playing. That's the guy all the hype was around him in training camp for Cincinnati. T. Higgins. He is the guy to look at this week. I'm not putting him in my leagues because I haven't done enough research on him yet. I haven't seen enough from him yet. I wouldn't tell anybody to start him, but I think he has the capacity to have a very, very good game against Philadelphia this week. He has a good matchup, you know? But alright, guys, and I guess the finalization here, I'll run back down the players one last time real quick. If you're playing in the 9-player league with the 1 defense, you're looking at Josh Allen as quarterback. Your 2 running backs are Ezekiel Elliott and Miles Sanders. Your three wide receivers are Terry McLaurin, Russell Gage, and Tyler Lockett. Your tight end this week is Noah Fant, and your flex is Tyler Boyd. The defense, I already said it. It's the New York Football Giants. That is the defense that you want to target. In my opinion, look, they had 9 points last week, and they had 4 points the week prior. Guys, they're not as bad as everybody thinks. They're a fast, hard-playing defense. It's just they can't go out and score with no Saquon. The defense is going to be on the field a lot. With an injury-riddled San Francisco offense, this might be the last week you can get a defense that costs really, really cheap and have them play really, really well when they shouldn't. The reason why I picked the New York Football Giants is because here's the thing. You don't want to pick players that everybody else has. If you pick the same lineup as the top guy, you're going to be splitting your earnings with him. Go for some risks. Take some risk. High upside risk. The New York Giants defense is a high upside risk. Russell Gage, high upside risk. Terry McLaurin, high upside risk. They're ranked very low right now. After a couple weeks, watch Terry McLaurin's stock go up. Tyler Lockett's stock is going to go up. These are the guys you want to buy on. Set them in your lineups this week. I think they're going to do absolutely tremendous. So, guys, good luck with your leagues this week. I hope everything works out. And like I said, I'll see you guys and I'll talk to you Saturday night or Sunday morning for the next video, guys. Thanks a lot.